Welcome to my Hebrew channel, Mila Baraika. Today we're continuing our study on wisdom. I worked on this for some time yesterday. Now today we're continuing this. I had it all together into one package. It was a little bit too long, so we're dividing it up a little bit here. And this is a slightly different version of Chokmah. This is Hachmot. Hachmot only appears a few times, but the few times it does appear, it's very, very interesting. So, wisdom. And we're going to look at what's known as the personification of wisdom. In other words, wisdom as the mother of certain children. Okay, children have wisdom as a mother, and it's a very interesting way of looking at it. It appears quite often in Proverbs and even in other portions of the Scripture. And we're going to look at that and the fact that helps us understand some of the things that happen even in the New Testament. We see references to wisdom also in the New Testament, so makes us understand what's happening there as well. And we start here with Proverbs 9, verse 1. Wisdom has built her house. She has hewn her 7 pillars. So, Hachmot, Bontach, Beitach, Hoshba, Amudecha, Shivya. And this then is wisdom and Bonata. Now, one thing we have to notice, all of the verbs here, Bonata, Beitach, but this is now, but it has a feminine suffix pronoun on the end of it. And this one and that one also the same thing here. So you get Hasheba, has built, has hewn, Amodach, Amuddecha, her columns, and her columns is plural form of Amud, Amudim. This is a construct then with the suffix pronoun on the end of it. And then Sheva, how many of them? 7. Now, in Greek thought, you had to have even numbers of columns. So this one's not. This one's 7. But in Hebrew thought, 7 is the perfect number. So in other words, she has hewn a perfect house with 7 pillars, seven columns holding them up. And this is then the wisdom, the woman that builds her house, builds it perfectly. And it's Banata, okay? Bonata, Beitach, so her house. House, incidentally, here is not so much a physical construction with stone columns and roof and so forth. This is the household family. Okay? She's putting together her family, her household, the people that are living with her. She's building those up. That's what wisdom is doing here. Hachmot, Bontach, Beitach. Someone who is wise is building a very solid house, which is based on God's principles, then, of course, for that household. So, and Proverbs 14, verse 1 makes a comparison here. The wisest of women builds her house, but folly with her own hands tears it down. There's a comparison here. And you have, first of all, the wise one, then you get the foolish one. So, and all of these are all in same thing, feminine endings here on all of your words here. So you got Hachmot, wise Nashim of the women, wise one of the women. Bontach, built. Beitach, same thing as the previous verse, built her house. But, okay, and then you have a contrast conjunction here. Ve Ivelet, the evil one, the foolish one, Ivelet. Bet Yadecha, with her hands. Teherzeno, tears it down, rips it up. Okay, Teheres, almost the onomatopoeia here, the sound of ripping something apart. So Tehereze, Teherzenu, rips it up, rips it. Does a herzenu, does a harasses it. Okay, so Teherzenu, tears it up. But the foolish one, with her own hands, in other words, what she's doing with her own hands, might have thinking it was something constructive, but no, ripping it to shreds. And this This will happen even to this day, be it via alcoholism or drug abuse or violence or something, whatever. Something evil happens in the heart of the person, and instead of building the household, it rips it up. So it's a very sad scenario when this happens, of course, because a lot of people suffer for it. I have a couple of examples now of Isha. I have Isha, and then Behokmat taught me. And yeah, we're back to Kama Satuv here. Behokmatav, in her wisdom. This is Bet Mohala. This is the city that's in the farthest northern region, right up the border against Lebanon. And Sheva had tried to build up or tried to organize a rebellion against David. Wasn't going so well, so he took off fleeing across the countryside with Joab in pursuit. Joab's chasing him from all the way from Jerusalem all the way to the northern end of the country. And at Abel Bet Mohala, he finds refuge in the city. And Joab shows up, and he puts all of his troops around the city and begins building up ramparts and stuff to start. He begins bashing on the walls of the city and so forth. At that point, one of the wise women of the city stands at the top of the wall and calls out, hey, who's there? Joab. Okay, I want to talk to Joab. And so she asks Joab, or she tells Joab, why, or asks him, why in the world are you ripping up one of the principal cities, one of the cities of testimony to Jerusalem, to Israel? And Joab says, no, I really don't have anything against the city. I just want Sheva. That's it. And she goes, hold on just a minute here. We'll fix this. And so she goes back to her people and tells people, okay, the choice is yours now, but hokmah, okay, wisdom. What's a smart thing to do at this moment? And the smart thing for the city at that point was to just remove Sheva's head, toss it out over the wall, and drop it down at Joab's feet. And with that was the end of the whole problem. So wisdom can sometimes come through very dramatic forms, and we see it here. So Vatebo, and then came, she went, Aisha, the woman, El Hakol Ha'am, to all the people. Here another Kama Satuv here. Al Kol Ha'am, the people. Behok Mata, in her wisdom. She had some smart things to say to these people, and so she comes with that wisdom. And then here we see the results of this particular set of wisdom. And then this is a feminine one. And then, the first line has feminine elements into it, but then from there on, everything that happens to poor Sheva and to Joab and so forth. So, Be'ekartu, and then they cut at Rosh, his head, Sheva, Ben Bikri, son of Bikri, Yeshalhu, and then they tossed it, Yeshalihu, and then they threw it, El Yoav, towards Joab, Yitka, and then it was blown, so the Beshofar was blown on the horn, on the trumpet. Shofar is the ram's horn, the kind of thing you would use that's what the Israelites use when they're walking around Jericho. So shofar. Shofar, even today, shofar is considered a big deal in Jerusalem, especially among the tourists. Fesuts, and then they all took off. Okay, Yafutsu, okay, Yafutsu. Always, even the word sounds whoosh. And then they all left. They dispersed. Yafutsu, Me'al Ha'ir, from the city. Ish le'ochal lach le'ochalav, each one to his own tent. Here they have the word home. It's literally each one to his own tent, but that's what it meant. Everybody back to his own place. Everybody reset. Everybody just go home. And so ish, each one. Incidentally, in English, the word ish and each work together pretty good here. Each one, every man, each one, ish. le'ochalaf, to his own tent, to his own home. Yoav and Joab, Shav, returned. Yerushalayim, to Jerusalem. El, towards Hamelech, to the king. He returned to King David and probably give a report as to the Sheva's head flying up over the city wall, landing at his feet, and then that putting the end to this particular battle. The loss of the one man basically saved the city, and this then was considered Hokmatav, was considered wise on the part of this particular woman. And Joab again, he was David's strong man. Oh man, he always he was willing to do some wild stuff. So Joab went sent to Tekoa, and Tekoa is well, it's actually you can see it from Bethlehem, next ridge south towards the south and east somewhat. You'll see Tekoa. Today there are two Tekoas. There's a Jewish Tekoa and a Palestinian Tekoa, but back in the day, just one Tekoa. Job sent to Tekoa. Amos also came from Tekoa, and brought from there a wise woman, and said to her, "Pretend to be a mourner, and put on mourning garments. Do not anoint yourself with oil, but behave like a woman who has been mourning many days for the dead." So this is a wise woman. That's how she's described. Hachma. It's Hachama. Open. They're all open syllables here, so they're all sounds to them. Okay, Hachama. So Isha Hachama. Okay, Hachama. Nothing of a Kamisatu here. This one even has an accent. So Achima. Yishala, and then he sent, and then Joab. Okay, Joab sent Yishala. Tekoach, okay, towards Tekoach. Probably directional hay in the end here. Vayakach, and he took Misham from there. Isha, a woman, Hokma Achama, a wise woman. Vayomer Elecha, and said to her, Hit Avili Na. Hit. This is Hit Pael, and causative, reflexive. Cause yourself to Avel. Avel is, and one way of really remembering this is there are numerous places in the Jordan Valley that come with the part of the Avel as part of their name. Okay, Avel Shittim, Avel Bet Mecholah, Avel, and so forth. There are about 4 or 5 places that have this particular name in part of the name. And the reason it's in part of the name is that these are fields that are almost wetlands. They've got lots of moisture from being near to the river, and so they're basically as close as you can get to wetlands in the area. So it's kind of a sobbing, sorry mess. Okay, you become like a wetland. Okay, so hit aveli na. So in other words, put on mourning, get yourself into a sogging, weeping mess. Liboshi na, and then place on beged, clothing. Abel, also of mourning, same thing. Abeli, and then you got Abel. I think Abel comes up again here. Yeah, Tawalet. Okay, so you got Abel, 3 times. Aleph Bet Lamed, Aleph Bet Lamed, Aleph Bet Lamed. So beged, bigde, Abel, put on clothing of mourning. Sobbing type clothing. Al, and not tishuki, and don't pour, don't don't pour. Shemen, oil, don't put on any oil. Keep yourself. When you have oil on, you're looking healthy. When you don't, you're dried out. So don't put on any oil. Hayit, and then become keish, as a woman. Zeh, this woman. Yamim Rabim, for many days. Mit Abelet, who has been mourning, has been sobbing, soggy person for a dead person. Okay, so apparently a big act, and then of course this woman comes before King David, and presents her case, and then King David figures it out. Oh, Joab sent you, and oh, I really should. I shouldn't be sitting around moping like this person. I should be sending and have Absalom return back home. So this was a manipulation on the part of Joab, but he used a wise woman to carry this out. So wisdom is often, very practical, very upfront. Here you'd find that you'd think of it as somewhat sneaky, but Hokmah or Hakama, this woman did have the smarts at this point, so to carry out what Joab wanted from her. And we find in Proverbs 1 verse 20 and 21 a very interesting description of wisdom, just what it does. And all of these verbs right here, ta-rona, titen, tikra, saying. Okay, so let's see. This is still just normal comments here. Okay, hachmot, bahut, terana. Okay, wisdom cries. Okay, terana cries aloud outside. Okay, hotz is outside. Modern Hebrew can be even outside the country, but here it's just outside in the street. So hakomot behotz tarona be barhova. Okay, in the markets in the open spaces, robot in the open spaces, barovot. Titen gives kola, her voice. Okay, she raises her voice, gives her voice. Berosh, at the head. Homiot, at the head of the homiot, the ones that are teeming with people. Okay, the teeming places, noisy streets. So this is the whirlwind of people that are all gathering together. Berosh homiot, Tikra calls out Pit He Saraim, Pita the entryways, Pite Sharim of the city gates. This is the larger gates. Shar is you have Delat or Pita, but this one's the larger gates, city gates. Sharim, Ba'ir in the city. Amarha, she speaks as saying. Okay, and then she speaks out saying. Then if you read the rest of Proverbs further on here, verses 22, 23, and so forth, it's a very strong message of watch out, be careful, especially watch out for that evil woman and so forth. So it's a very powerful message here of being careful with how you do things. So moving on to how this is used here in the New Testament, wisdom is vindicated by all of her children. So just what role does wisdom have for us even to this day? And I find it very interesting in that here in Luke 7, the first part here has had the Pharisees, scribes and Pharisees, criticize Jesus for sitting down and eating and drinking along with all the people there, and not just these with the tax collectors and the sinners and everybody. First of all, they said, "Oh, John the Baptist didn't eat or drink; he has a demon. The Son of Man, that is Jesus, came. He's eating and drinking. No. He's a glutton. Now he's a drunkard." Okay, criticism is always there for whatever you're doing, and that's what they were doing to Jesus. And then also, one of the Pharisees asked him to eat with him, went into the Pharisee's house, was at the table. Woman of the city who was, kind of asked yourself, wow, how in the world did she even get in there? Or maybe she was brought there just to test him. But Jesus permits her to anoint his feet, and this becomes a very, very moving scene of Jesus also affirming what's going to happen to him. Now, so we have lots of action, and some very surprising things happening, for a rabbi to permit this or to even somewhat encourage it and so forth. Lots of surprises for the people. People are kind of asking, what's happening? Why is this going on? Right in the middle of that kind of action, that kind of movement, that kind of things going on, we find this little phrase here. It's a gem of Hebrew thought, of Hebraic thought, right here in the middle of what's happening. Yet, wisdom is justified by all her children. So you got to ask, oh, children, what are the children? What is that? Children, of course, are the result of a marriage, but in this case, wisdom is personified. It's a mother of something, and she's a mother then of these things that are happening. And Jesus very clearly goes, okay, he's given some thought, and it's with a lot of purpose that he's done this, and he's done this, and why? This is a wise move to teach people that you have to be involved, you have to be engaged. You're in the world, but you're not of the world. You're there to bring the gospel of salvation to people, and really you can only do that when you have when your friends are tax collectors and sinners, or when the person that's at your feet is recognized as a sinner. Wisdom is justified by all her, vindicated by her children. In other words, the good results or the good things that happen from obedience to the Lord brings forth children of wisdom. So it's a very moving concept to understand and to know that when we do things in a very deliberate manner in obedience to the Lord, and some of that might be very surprising, like staying in contact with people who have obvious problems, being their friend and bringing the gospel to them, we are here to remove ourselves from the world. We're here involved in the world to bring the gospel of salvation to those around us who have these kinds of problems. So wisdom is justified by all her children. In other words, wisdom has children. Those children are the good actions and the good lives that we have learned to live in obedience to the Lord, and also here, as we see, imitating the life and actions also and purposes of our Lord and Savior, Jesus. Here it is, a small Hebrew gem right in the middle. Personification of wisdom. You have to ask, okay, what are the children? And when we understand what those children are, we seek to be faithful in working through that and seeing that we also bring forth children of righteousness also from our actions. So may God bless, may God strengthen you at this time, and may you have some terrific children that come from having you being faithful in announcing the gospel of salvation. So God bless, and God keep you in this day.